Right, part 6. So that's the background to why I was. Well, it's not the whole story. It's just an example of why we need to get into Parliament. Us, we the people. We are not corporate slaves, and yet the government treats us as corporate slaves. The corporates treat us as cash cows, and that's on record. We are the only asset that the government have is the population of the country that is governed by the government. Because paper is paper, it's worthless. What is not worthless is your labour. The jobs that you do, the income that you pay, and the resources that you provide for Great Britain and the rest of the world is based on your effort. Government taxes that effort to pay for its expensive 5-star luxury. Because tanks and bombs, gunships, ships, ammunition, the typewriters that the computers that they've got on their office desks at the Department of Vehicle Licensing have been paid for out of your effort. Every 3 years they throw out all of their computers, replace them with new, and every 3 years they recycle the computers. Well, I doubt it, they'd probably send them back to China to be stripped and recycled. But anyway, the point I'm making is that your taxes pay for the government and the resources of the government. The computers, the mobile phones, the taxis, the tanks, the gunships, the helicopters, the government offices. Everything that the government needs to govern you, you've paid for. But, and if I'm wrong, then tell me so. I'll post up, you know. There's my contact details. Hope you can read that. Right, you see that? That's my contact details. Right. And tell me that I'm wrong. Right, prove that I'm wrong. But the way I see it is that the government have borrowed heavily from the bankers, which is why when they clicked and said, oh, we need $700 billion, the government said, yeah, okay. Obama said, yeah, okay, I'll give you $700 billion. Because they invented it. It's like this bit of paper. It's like this bit of paper. It's invented, created. And what's happened is that the priority to make that reality of, you know, you need to replace the computers every 3 years, etc., etc. The government needs to make a profit. They've been infected with the corporate disease of profit making. And what I've learned from people like John Harris and Alex Jones and all the other people that I've seen recently is that government is a profit-making organisation. It's a company designed to make profit. Now, the only way that they can make profit is through economic growth. The higher the economy, the more money the economy makes, the more profit the government makes. So, 2%, 4%. It's all designed to steal your cash, to rob you blind, and to pay off their bankers, their creditors. People like Rothschild and Rockefeller have said, you have to pay this amount of interest. You have to pay our debts. You have a debt with us, and we want you to pay it. And then the debt just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. $600 trillion is one hell of a debt. And I guarantee it that the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers didn't generate that income from building cars or building tanks and ammunition. They made it purely from the interest on the debt repayment. So the Rothschilds lent the government, say, $60 billion. 10 years on, that's worth $66 billion. And these are just numbers that I'm picking out of the window, out of the wind, right? That surplus, I mean, I'm not going to bore you with economic detail, but basically you've got the principal loan, I lend you 60 billion, and the interest on top of that, the 6 billion, gets saved up. And with that 6 billion, they buy up smaller companies, the smaller companies monopolise into bigger companies, consolidate, and over the last 200-300 years, these families, these global elites, have consolidated all of their wealth into a tiny little pyramid. So there you are at the bottom, this is you at the bottom, and at every stage they make money till you get to the top of the pyramid. And that's how they've got the money. So they can then lend the government, Gordon Brown says, I've made a mistake. It's cost me £20 billion to build an aircraft carrier that we can't afford. Can you lend me £20 billion? And the global elites say, yeah, sure, here you are. But I want 20% interest. Okay, fine. Blowjob later. The bankers make money. We get our 2 aircraft carriers for 20 billion quid, and we're 2 billion quid worse off. And you work that out through every transaction that the government makes, you end up with a whole mountain of cash. Remember the butter mountains from the 70s? Oh, I know, let's save up on butter and blah blah blah. So all of our efforts as a people, as a community of British people, as a community of French, Ghanaians, Chinese, Vietcong, a whole lot of us, are now in bonded slavery to these corporates, because the corporates lent the government the money, the government couldn't manage the money properly, gave the bankers a blowjob, the bankers said that'll cost you interest, so the government then paid the interest and so on. And that's where we are at the moment. So, getting back to the plot, why do I need to stand for Parliament if the system is so corrupt, so abusive, so bankrupt? It's because I believe that the only way to change the system is to know the system. Now, as a British citizen, I can't tell Gordon Brown what to do, because he's got this bodyguard, he's got this shield between them. It's called Special Branch. And they will shoot me in the head if I chuck a paper bag at him, or in the Deputy Prime Minister's case, a rotten egg. But, but if I got elected as a Member of Parliament for Bournemouth East, and you guys, the electorate, trust me, because that's what the bottom line is, it's all about trust, I can at least get into Parliaments and raise these concerns. Now you like watching football, you the people, Sky Sports, all that kind of stuff. You like taking your kids to the park for playtime, you like taking the dog for a walk, you like driving your VX sports car down the motorway at 60 miles an hour, right? That's your thing, that's the thing that you do. But if you don't want to go into Parliament, you think they're all abusive, bankrupt and corrupt and incompetent. But unless somebody gets in there and say, oi, give them a kick up the bum, and say, oi, sort it out, we ain't. Anyway, I've got to stop it now.